Hello friends, welcome back to a new videos. Ashwa Old Coins, the Kenya 10 shillings coin, first introduced in 1966, is a significant part of the country's currency system. The 2010 version of this coin represents a particular period in Kenya's modern history, reflecting the nation's economic evolution, historical milestones, and changing governance. Understanding the 10 shillings coin, specifically the 2010 edition, requires an exploration of its historical, political, and geographical context. The Kenyan shilling, KS, has been the official currency of Kenya since 1966, following independence from British colonial rule in 1963. Initially, the shilling was pegged to the British pound, but after the country's independence, it underwent various changes and reforms in line with the country's development and economic shifts. Over time, different denominations of coins were issued, with the 10 shilling coin emerging as one of the standard currencies used in daily transactions. 1966, the shilling was introduced, replacing the East African pound after Kenya became independent. 1980s to 1990s. During these decades, the country experienced inflationary pressures, which led to the redesign and issuance of higher-denomination coins and notes. 2000s, the period from the late 1990s to the early 2000s saw significant economic reforms and stabilization efforts, including changes in currency designs to reflect Kenya's modern identity. The 2010 version of the 10 shilling coin marks a point where Kenya was on the cusp of significant constitutional reform, with the promulgation of a new constitution in 2010 and growing economic challenges and opportunities. The design and minting of coins in Kenya are often influenced by national symbols, figures of historical importance, and features of the country's cultural heritage. The 2010 10 shilling coin was part of a series of coins in circulation at the time, each with unique design elements. Obverse, front. The coin's obverse typically features the Kenyan coat of arms, which includes two lions supporting a shield. The shield represents defense and protection, while the lions symbolize strength. Above the coat of arms is the inscription Kenya, and below it is the denominations 10 shillings. Reverse, back. The reverse side of the coin often features a national symbol, depending on the year of issue. For the 2010 coin, the reverse features an image that is relevant to Kenya's heritage and development during the period. It may also include a stylized design reflecting Kenya's natural resources, culture, or economic pursuits. Edge. The edge of the coin is often smooth or may feature a reeded or grooved texture, depending on the particular minting. It is typically inscribed with additional features that denote its authenticity. In 2010, Kenya's economy was undergoing significant changes. This period followed a challenging economic time after the 2007 to 2008 post-election violence, which had disrupted economic stability. However, by 2010, the country was on a path to recovery. This included efforts to improve governance, financial management, and investment, particularly in infrastructure and tourism. The 10 shilling coin, like other denominations, reflected the broader economic context. Inflationary pressures. Like many other African countries, Kenya had to deal with inflationary pressures, and the value of the currency fluctuated. The value of the 10 shillings coin during 2010 was directly impacted by these macroeconomic factors. Currency redesign. The introduction of new coin designs, like the 10 shilling coin in 2010, was part of a broader effort to modernize the currency and make it more resistant to counterfeiting, while also updating national symbols to reflect post-independence Kenya's identity. Rise in consumer demand. Economic recovery in the post-crisis period spurred an increase in consumer demand, necessitating a steady supply of coins like the 10 shillings to facilitate daily transactions. Kenya, located in East Africa, is bordered by Uganda to the west, Tanzania to the south, Somalia to the east, Ethiopia to the north, and South Sudan to the northwest. The country's Indian Ocean coastline stretches along the southeastern part of the country. The geography of Kenya is extremely diverse, with coastal plains, highlands, the Great Rift Valley, and various national parks and reserves that are home to diverse wildlife. In 2010, Kenya had urbanization. The rapid urbanization in cities such as Nairobi, the capital, and Mombasa was accompanied by an expanding middle class, contributing to an increase in demand for consumer goods and services. Agriculture. The agricultural sector remained central to the economy, with tea, coffee, and horticultural products being some of the country's most important exports. Tourism. Kenya's national parks and wildlife reserves, including places like the Masai Mara and Amboseli, remained a major draw for international tourists. The government's efforts to protect and market these natural resources bolstered the tourism industry. The 10 shillings coin served as a vital medium of exchange in a country with a rapidly changing landscape, both geographically and economically. Kenya's political landscape in 2010 was heavily shaped by the aftermath of the 2007 to 2008 post-election violence. This violence had left the country deeply divided and created the need for political reform. In response, a new constitution was promulgated in August 2010, a monumental event in Kenya's political history. New Constitution. The 2010 Constitution aimed to decentralize government power, provide for a more inclusive political system, and protect the rights of Kenyan citizens. It was a result of years of negotiation and public input, marking a turning point in Kenya's political evolution. Political stability and governance. The 2010 coin issued amid this constitutional shift reflected a national moment of hope and change, as it symbolized the desire for unity, fairness, and economic growth. It was also seen as part of efforts to reform and modernize Kenya's governance structures. The 10 shilling coin, including the 2010 version, carries deep symbolic meaning. It represents Kenya's economic aspirations, political evolution, and cultural identity. The presence of national symbols like the coat of arms emphasizes the unity and sovereignty of the country. The 10 shilling coin serves as a reminder of Kenya's commitment to economic development, political stability, and social progress. In a time of transformation, the coin stands as a marker of the efforts to redefine the nation and build a new future. The Kenya 10 shillings coin from 2010 encapsulates a moment in the country's history characterized by political reform, economic recovery, and a commitment to national unity. It reflects Kenya's efforts to modernize its financial system and adapt to the changing demands of a growing population and an evolving global economy. By exploring the history, design, economic, political, and geographical contexts of this coin, we gain deeper insight into Kenya's journey toward becoming a more dynamic and prosperous nation.